Okay, at 6 o'clock, I'll call this meeting to order. If everybody can rise, give a prayer. Our Heavenly Father, maker of heavens and the earth, we ask your blessings on this meeting. We ask that you give us clarity, that we all work together to the betterment of all of our ratepayers and come up with the best solutions on things that may come up tonight. In your name, Jesus, we pray. Amen.
Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I accept this flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible.
Well, I'd like to welcome everybody. Before we have some good news and some bad news, I hope everybody celebrated the Independence Day festivities in a really strong, memorable way, one way or another. I was reminded that this is actually the month to celebrate the 250th of our country, not just a single day. So there's nothing that says the festivities have to shut down at this point. We can continue celebrating the blessings this country has had. If you haven't seen it, and I'm not trying to get too patriotic or anything here, but there's a popular psychologist who's all over social media. I don't catch him hardly at all, but every now and then I do. His name is Jordan Peterson, and you probably at least heard of him. If you find his post on Twitter, he's actually a Canadian, and it's actually it rings as if he's writing something like the Frenchman Alexander de Tocqueville about America. I'd really encourage you to seek that out and read it if you can. Before we get into public comments, June has a short statement.
Thank you, Mr. President. With a heavy heart, I would like to make an announcement that our long-term board director for District 2, Mr. Lane Sigmund, passed away this past Saturday, July 5th. We thank Lane for his dedicated service to the authority and the residents in District 2. Please keep our prayers for his family. Thank you.
Thank you, Jim. Okay, public comments. I have two so far. Mr. Jerry Holman.
Good evening, everyone. The primary mission of the North Harris County Regional Water Authority is to secure a long-term supply of quality surface water and to facilitate the transition to surface water in compliance with the Harris-Galveston Subsidence District requirements. I compared this mission to building lakes and reservoirs in the 1950s. People who had a long-term vision for water, such as a growing population and future development. Where would we be today without the lakes and reservoirs from the 1950s? Where would we be today or 30 years from now without the surface water infrastructure currently being built? The notion that MUDs do very little is uninformed. Wholesale surface water being taken by MUDs from the authority is sent through a piping system and a control play valve to the mud ground storage tanks. The MUDs provide all the related services thereafter, to include the water facility made up of ground storage tanks, pressure tanks, elevated storage tanks, wells, booster pumps, motor control centers, PLCs, instrumentation, chemical feed systems, generators, transformers, switch gears, security, compliance, permitting, drainage, electricity, capital expenses, and daily operations, and maintenance costs. The mud distribution system collectively has thousands of miles of water pipe and service lines with many types of fire hydrants and meters. Each mud has a rate order and accounts for each customer. Billing and management of the distribution systems, meters, connections, customer accounts, complaints, leaks, backflows, sampling, regulatory compliance. That includes testing and monitoring. MUDs have the relationship with the water customer, ratepayer, and provide all of the services to include the water facilities, distribution systems, and the meters for billing. MUDs are good for business. MUDs help create affordable housing. MUDs are good for Texas. People all over the world are coming to Texas to learn about MUDs and how they can replicate the MUD blueprint. MUDs provide water, sewer, drainage, levees, roads, parks, security, and much more. The MUDs are also elected officials and are the authority's #1 customer and partner in the mission of surface water conversion. There are several handouts about MUDs and statistical data supporting how valuable MUDs are for Texas. Please visit the awd.org for more information. These are the handouts here, and I appreciate you putting this up. This is just MUDs in our general area right here, and if you see Texas, you can see around the Dallas, Austin, and starting in the Rio Grande, we're starting to see more and more districts. Board, I appreciate last week the opportunity to speak. I would like to invite you guys to our facilities to learn more about a water plant and how it functions. I can set that up through June. We'd love to have you guys come out and share some more information that I think will help you in your service to our community. Thank you.
On Chapman.
I sent each of the board members a letter a week before. I didn't read it on June 30th, because we were busy and a nice meeting, it went well. But there's some things that I brought up in that meeting, on that letter, I'd like to remind you of, that you already know. Each one of you has a responsibility. You were elected to your job to operate the authority to the best of your ability. Now it is to bring service water in at the most economic price. The authority has been like a roller coaster since 2020. The rate's been going down, and now you're bringing it up, and who knows how much. You wanted the sometimes the fund balance to go down. You got it down. The question is, what are you going to do about it now? How are you going to accomplish the mission that you've got ahead of you? How are you going to meet the requirements of the Harris County and Southern District? At least once legislation was proposed to separate the authority from the Southern District, was not successful, didn't even make it to the floor. We need to forget about that and get on with the job of doing what's necessary. When each of you are gone, the rest of us are going to be here, and we're going to have to pay these distant fees that are going to come at us, and they're going to come hard. And at some point, there's nothing we can do about it. But you have the ability to do something about it now, and I hope you will do your job. Thank you.
Does anybody else like to address the board? Seeing none, we'll go on to item 3, messages from the board members. Start around that.
Nothing.
Yeah, I'd like to kind of echo Jerry's sentiment. As I mentioned on Tuesday, my start on the board was a little bit rough. Said that it was the board against the MUDs. And, at the legal thing, that got all settled. And after that was all done, then I called up one of my political opponents on the MUD side, and I said, he's already in my district, and I said, can I get a tour of your plant? And that helped open my eyes to what exactly my MUD does. Maybe not even exactly, but at least to give you a general idea, we started a conversation, and that made me realize what kind of a partnership, that it could be good or bad with the MUDs. And it's just really, you know, depends on communication and working together. And I like to think that some of those former foes, if you will, become now friends, or at least, you know, we respect each other. But with this invitation, I would encourage my fellow directors to take Jerry up on his offer to show them what exactly a MUD does, operational wise, logistics wise. It just will give you some valuable insight. So I just kind of wanted to make that statement.
Kelly, I was hoping you would mention some of the events that were on the firehouse over there on the roadside. You did? See, you forgot about it. We had some good activities at the location.
Yeah, I was not going to be getting into specifics.
That's okay. Everything was good. You'll pay for this.
Good evening, all. Thanks for being here, and thank you for all those that are online. I attended the AWBD conference a couple weeks ago. It was very good as usual. The little, I can't think of the word I'm trying to say. You know, all the,
Seminars?
yes. Yeah, all those were very good, but more than that, it was really good to be able to visit with other like MUD directors and directors from the Science District and other water authorities. So that was really good. It's good to exchange ideas and learn from each other. So I really enjoyed that part of it too. Jerry Holman received the Vision Award, which is the highest honor from the AWBD. So he received that at the conference. And I also want to say that our forum last week was very well attended. We had a full house in here, so hopefully all the MUD directors got a lot out of it. And then lastly, I want to mention we lost a MUD director from Harris County Freshwater District 61. Mike Kelly. It's very sad for me. He was a Vietnam War veteran. He served in the Navy. He was married for 57 years, and he was a good friend of mine. And his wife said it's just going to be a big loss for the whole community that he is gone. And so I just wanted to mention that. The visitation is tomorrow night, and the service is in Brenham on Wednesday. So if you want any details, you can get with Jerry Holman. He was with MUD, or you can ask me what the details are. But that's a big loss to have him gone. So anyway, I think that's about it. Thank you.
Thank you, directors. I kind of already said my bit earlier, but I would point out after what Jerry said that Nick had actually arranged for a tour of their facilities right when we first got elected. So it's not like we're avoiding doing things like that. So appreciate that, Nick. Okay, let's move to item 4, approve the minutes from June 1st regular meeting. It's on tab 2.
Who approved it?
Okay, it's been moved to approve the minutes by Director Fessler. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Carries unanimously. Okay, thank you, members. We'll go into the Finance Director's report. Cindy?
Thank you. The financial report is as of May 31st, 2026. The board packet and the website includes all of the detailed reports, the design, engineering, acquisition, construction,
Okay, Director Melissa has moved that we accept the financial report and pay the bills. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, nay, or abstentions? Carries 5-0. General Manager's report, number 6.
Okay, first up, we have the status of surface water supply and conversion. We've got our monthly chart up on the screen. Preliminary numbers for June of 2026 as far as surface water deliveries hit 37 million gallons per day on average. As you can see all the way on the right-hand side of the screen, which is up a little bit from May's deliveries and also is up from last year in June's deliveries. I did pull the data for weather since I've been asked about it. So looking at June compared to the month of May, temperatures, average for the day and high temperatures for the day, both were up significantly in June from May, as we would expect. If we compare this June to last June, temperatures are right around the same. I'd say it was just 1 degree hotter last June than it was this June. And looking at precipitation, the month of May this past year and the month of June this year were very wet for us, as I think we all have seen. Compared to last June, if you look at this June compared to last June, we're up close to 8 inches. I think this is at the Intercontinental, so maybe not at your house, but Intercontinental's number is close to 8 inches for the month of June this year and 5 inches for the month of June last year. So I would say for all intents and purposes, we are a little bit warmer in June than we were in May. Rainfall is about the same between the 2 months, and rainfall when compared to last year is significantly more. So the fact that we were able to deliver more surface water this time around, well, we added, I think, 24 new water plants online, so that pretty much accounts for why we were able to deliver more water out the door. Looking at the preliminary numbers on the May conversion, so for the groundwater pumpage, groundwater always lags behind our surface water as far as we wait for numbers to come in from everybody, and then we reconcile things, so numbers might change from one month to the next as we update numbers. But preliminary numbers on the month of May for conversion, 39% conversion for the month of May as compared to last May, it was 32% conversion. So I'd say for all intents and purposes, much better this year, so we've got more months online. But we're getting into some hotter and drier conditions, so we'll see how the rest of the summer goes.
Well, we're in El Nino, which means we'll have a wetter
Yeah, it should be wetter.
year. If they know what we're talking about.
Yeah, not that we can predict the weather very well. The alternative dominant theory is that this is all tied to the Pacific volcano that exploded about 3 years ago. Whatever that was. So, who knows? But we're doing better. Cindy?
Sure, I'll start. The next item is discussing the execution of the financing agreement and future closing schedule with the Texas Water Development Board in connection with 2026 state water implementation resolution fund for Texas source work. We are scheduled to close on $265 million of stored funds with the Water Development Board on December 10th, 2026. The Water Development Board has provided a closing schedule and included in your board package this schedule. Listing documents and items that are required with certain due dates. While most of the tasks listed on the schedule are completed by bond counsel, financial advisor, program management, and staff, there are 2 items that require approval or action. So we wanted to give you advance notice so that before they are on the agenda for your action. The first item will be the financing agreement, An executed financing agreement is due to the Water Development Board by noon September 2nd. So the board will need to approve the financing agreement at the August board meeting. The second item will be the adoption of a resolution authorizing the issuance of North Harris County Regional Water Authority Senior Revenue Bond Series 2026. The adopted resolution is due to the Water Development Board by November 19th. The board will need to adopt this resolution at the October board meeting. So we just wanted to give you a heads up on those two action items by the board.
Okay, thank you. So we don't
Have a
need to
total
vote.
dollar amount on this, Cindy?
265 million.
Appreciate a little extra advance notice.
Let me ask another question. They require we have a minimum amount of surplus. Are we gonna meet that standard? In
We will,
December?
we should be meeting our covenant, rate covenants and bond covenants, yes.
Okay, any other discussion on this item? Thank you, Cindy. We'll move on to number 7, Director of Planning and Government Affairs.
Thank you, Mr. President, board members. At last month's board meeting, Director Barker asked a question related to the North Fork Water, about how did the North Fork Water Authority get the extension of the conversion requirements. So I was asked to, I was asked to answer Director Barker's question. So let me, if you would, pass those out. That's just the conversion requirements of the new regulatory plan. At the December Fort Bend subsidence meeting, that board considered adopting the regulatory plan. And this was after the joint regulatory plan review had been conducted in 2025, which is obviously similar to what the subsidence district, obviously did done last year as well. The Fort Bend subsidence district passed the regulatory plan as presented. The regulatory plan as presented moved the conversion deadline back from 2027 to 2030. So in looking at the minutes and looking at the comments, actually how the North Fort Bend received that extension is they got outvoted, because they actually made a motion to amend the plan and move the conversion deadline to 2030 back to 2027. So the way the meeting played out was that one of the Commissioners' Court representatives moved to adopt the plan as presented. And that was seconded by another Commissioners' Court representative on the subsidence district board. Then Mr. Geringer moved to amend the motion by moving the conversion deadline from 2030 to 2027, and he's representative of the North Fort Bend Water Authority on that board. That was seconded by another Commissioners Court representative. The vote was called. The vote was for the amended motion was 5 for and 9 against. They then took up the original motion, which was to adopt the regulatory plan as it was presented with the 2030 conversion requirement, and that passed 10 to 4. So one of the members changed his vote to support that. So I hope that kind of answers your question there. And looking at the agenda item where it talks a little bit about the regulatory plan, that's why I made y'all a copy of that to show what that. So I hope that answers your question, Mr. Barton, in a way. Kind of put a little light on exactly how that happened. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Was there much discussion on either the amendment or as presented?
Now that I couldn't answer to. In looking at in the minutes, and it didn't even have how each individual member voted in who made the motion, determine who they represented. I think if we dig a little deeper, I guess we could go and maybe listen to it. Didn't know how far we wanted to go
I
down.
was just wondering if, issues such as an emergency or something like that.
When you look at some of the comments, in particular,
the water authority and several of the MUDs, they felt like that everything was going well, and they should stick to that original 2027. The flip side of that, a couple of the cities, I think maybe Sugarland, Rosenberg, they felt like at the same time everything was going well, so we're getting excited. So let's move it back, and if you look at, I think one of the things it speaks to is to give a little more time for the infrastructure to be developed.
Okay, thank you, that's very informative.
Director Ramsey?
And it's,
Oh, go ahead.
I was gonna move on to the next piece, unless you had a question.
No, I just wanted to mention, I didn't realize this, but the Fort Benson Times District Board has 2 members appointed by the North Fort Bend Water Authority. Yeah, so the entity responsible for implementing the requirements has direct representation, in those discussions.
As an old county judge, I don't have any problem with that. That's pretty appropriate.
And they had, how many total members?
16.
16, okay.
16.
I thought it was 17, but if you're probably right.
Well, I could be wrong, but I'm not.
Is this an extra?
Yes.
I have a list of every representative.
Yeah, that's true. Just, okay. Okay, want to move on to D?
17, very good.
Yes, Director Ramsey asked me to give an update, summary of kind of what's going on with state and local regulations related to large data centers. And so I'm kind of in a no see pass out paper. I'm being in timber country. That's obviously too much to see some paper going around. There'll be a couple of things in there. The first is the governor on June 10th issued a directive to PUC and ERCOT to shield Texans from data center infrastructure costs. So just to summarize, he directed the PUC and ERCOT to require data center facilities to pay for the entirety of the electricity infrastructure costs. That the agency should ensure ratepayers pay none of the costs for the construction or interconnection to the grid. He also laid out 6 priorities on data centers. One was to codify the cost allocation mandate to data centers, require incoming data centers to add power to the grid, mandate that new facilities use a closed loop water system or similarly efficient method, made annual reporting requisites on water and electricity use, and they would to repeal the sales tax exemption for data centers, which the legislature passed last session. So, and also
What is that?
Sales tax.
What did they sell?
Some things they might, well, they would be exempt from paying you, so.
Oh.
It would be bound to pay.
Oh, I know.
That's right, I think that's right. And also to establish best practice policies that reduce noise and address other concerns, and that's kind of all captured in that. Also, the House Natural Resources Committee had a hearing on June 23rd, and they had asked for testimony from the PUC, TCEQ, many different agencies, Water Development Board. And one of the things that came up was that the PUC has sent out a survey, and that's the other piece that y'all had in there. And that was required for the data centers and the mining, you'll see that, to respond to that survey of the water and electric use. But only 29% actually responded. So the legislature, that committee didn't like that at all. And one of the committee members even said that, that there was a Class C criminal violation on that. So the PUC has sent the survey back out, gave them a little more time to answer the questions. But in the hearing itself, there was obviously quite a bit of testimony from the public, certainly agriculture interests and other groups in opposition to data centers. But there was also, and even in the Houston Chronicle today, there was an op-ed in the Chronicle today about data centers. And I think the headline was, "No more free riders for data centers."
But there was also testimony from a gentleman named Michael Lucci, who is the founder and CEO of State Armor. And he focused on what is a priority, and that is that the technology, data centers, AI, means that it is important that this country has dominance in that technology and dominance for national security reasons. And he focused heavily on that and the involvement of the Chinese Communist Party in that technology. Called out ChatGPT and several other of those AIs. So I think, and for me, watching it, I felt like it was a little bit of a game changer, because I know that after he gave his opening remark, before he opened up for questions, Chairman Harris asked Mr. Lucci to give him a little bit of background, where everyone would know that he was not coming out of left field or anything, and he had credentials for what he was saying. So obviously his testimony was well received. But you put that with, you know, what the governor's came out with, so obviously there's going to be much scrutiny of that since coming into this position. I think that's all I have on that.
So would this be a fair summary that from what you heard and read about, that the governor and the legislature is still in favor of data centers full speed ahead, just have heightened security and like to pay their own way sort of thing?
I think so. In general, I think I would agree with that. Maybe not on the full speed, maybe, but I think with much increased scrutiny, and I think the national security piece would be something that they would rely on. But this, along the lines of, I think, this technology is going to happen, and it needs to be here in the United States, and we'd like to have it in Texas where we can regulate it. And actually, Mr. Lucci, he said last session that the state of Texas and Nebraska were the two states that had the best sessions for controlling technology and the threat from outside actors for the CCP.
I definitely forgot to ask the landowners in Texas what they wanted to do, which is where this is all coming from.
Yeah, that's right. And even the next speaker after him said, well, you know, notwithstanding everything he just said, you know, I still have concerns about it, you know. Kind of that, I think it's one of those, not my backyard, and that's kind of open to expressing techniques on this kind of stuff. We're for it in principle, we need to have it, but we have some of those.
Yeah, not to belabor the point, but I saw an article over the weekend that was a rural landowner, and it was a data center going in next to them. Hadn't even actually broken ground yet, but they had set up the light stands to be building 24/7 on it. And you're in the middle of, you know, one of the blackest skies in Texas. All of a sudden, there's this sun level light source that's kind of next door to it. And obviously, the problems would be work.
Is there an issue that if these data centers use more water? I know there's technology to make them water neutral, but should we investigate whether or not to have regulations that require them to be water neutral? Has any engineer looked at any of that?
No, you're still my thunder. I had some questions.
Well, the authority doesn't have that authority to.
Oh, we have the authority with respect to conservation. So I think we do have that authority. And depending on whether or not it affects our conversion requirements, I think we need to know. I would suggest we need to know whether or not.
The only authority we have regulating the groundwater is if their well is permitted by the subsidence district that have to be approved by us. If they are under the mud, then we do not have the authority to regulate.
my belief is that most of them are being constructed outside.
I don't know that.
The one we have is at Blue Ella and, Cutting Road, and it's in one of our muds, and, it's right next to the, electrical booster station.
Substation, yeah.
So, we only have one, right? Do you know of?
That one actually is not defined as a
What's it behind that?
just what a music.
Server farm,
They actually did not classify themselves as those.
How about the one going in at Loretta and Jones? The old compact center.
So there is one at the old compact center that is in one of our existing muds that is, then receives state funding in order to go in that location.
And that's in the same mud too.
That's
the
a
other.
different location though than this, I'm not sure on the server farm and who is supplying water to them. No one, so no one came to us requesting water in their server farm. To date, we have not received, to my knowledge, any well applications where someone has indicated their water use is for a data center. I mean, we have been scrutinizing in terms of folks who are turning in well applications. We have been asking a lot more detailed questions than what's been asked previously in terms of, are they constructing a new water plant and more details. So that's something that anybody who does apply for a well, if it's a new well, whether it's an existing mud or a new mud or a different individual user, we do ask quite a bit more questions to see how they're categorized per your current rate order. If they're a new GRP participant or an existing GRP participant, and are they building a new plant that's required to already be ready for conversion and have the chloramine system all set up. So we do go and review those. But to date, we have not received an application for a well from a data center.
Do we, when we're receiving these applications, whether it's from a data center or any other industrial user, do we specifically ask them what the business is?
So we do ask what the purpose is, but if it was just a mud coming in and I'm putting together a development and we're gonna serve this much, we might not get that much granularity from a mud. Sometimes we do, sometimes we get a decent amount of granularity. There's this many housing units, this many equivalent connections, and that's how they get the basis for their projections.
It's not really required at this point.
It is not required of subsidence district when they fill in their well application. We do ask clarifying questions that are more in depth than subsidence district, but yes.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Evans, for all that information for sub and A and B. As far as planning, I was wondering, if large data centers are in our boundaries, will it impact GRP requirements and conversion percentages? Would increased demand require additional infrastructure, additional service water capacity, or increased cost?
So starting with the first point on, I think to some degree there are some, not misunderstandings on data centers. Not all data centers are water intensive. So some data centers can be water neutral, as Andy pointed out. They can use alternate cooling technologies than water. So if you look up, I just happened to go and search server farm, because folks had asked the question, and I searched online for them. They claim that they are using different technology that is not water intensive to their cooling. So there's other technologies that are out there, that whether it's air-based or other coolant materials that they utilize in order to do their cooling that's not water-based. So that is, to my knowledge, that's what server farm is using. That's what they say on their website, so.
But also I heard like 17% of data centers are not giving up how much water they're using. They're not like letting people know.
Well, I think that was the percent of respondents to the water concerns. So that's, you're right.
So there's been co-locations around the city area for decades. Those are the remote servers that all the companies around town store their data on. Those almost all, I'm sure that Kelly will agree with this, use standard AC as their way of cooling their buildings. There is no water usage to speak of. In fact, they don't even use water for suppression. They use halon gas, I think, for suppression. So that is, I think the question is all the really big systems that they're wanting to build that take up acres and acres. And that's not what we have yet that I'm aware of. So,
Those would be going to the rural counties, that's where the land they're gonna see. And just to follow up on Director Rowley, you were correct, there's 17, actually, there's 17 positions, but there's only 16 is one position vacant.
Oh, okay, how's that? Because I did see it earlier today.
Okay, this might be a good place to ask. It's not explicitly, it ties to this parties. Could we start getting those daily reports that we used to have and got shut down, I guess, almost a year ago? Can we start getting those again for at least the members that want?
Yes, so we have, I think, 2 more meters that are still left to be replaced. So, very close.
Okay.
I mean, I'm
Sure.
question too. How are we gonna ensure that new high volume water users pay their fair share and not, and we don't shift the cost burden onto the ratepayers? I guess when you get these applications and,
Yeah, so if somebody was a new participant, then they would be responsible for paying the new participant fee that y'all enacted last year. So we would look at that every well application, we look and review that to see if someone does qualify as a new GRP participant and inform them when accepting the well onto our aggregate permit, this well qualifies as a new GRP participant. So that we would definitely be looking at. In terms of if someone were to have a data center that was using water for cooling in a substantial amount within their MUD, it's currently within that MUD and it's not they are an existing GRP participant.
Okay, we no further discussion. Thank you, Judge. We'll move on to item 8, construction engineering updates.
So this is on your tab 4, that's the item on the agenda, with the executive summary and your handouts. So this is the 31C project. This is 31C here on the way. It has almost 21 million feet of water line and converted of 3 water receiving facility. This is one here. That's 20 freshwater, 61 plant 3, it's plant 2, that's 20 mud 170 water plant. So it had, the contractor was mainly industries. It's all described in your handouts, under tab 4. And the contract amount is right here, $19,497,814.50. The total anticipated conversion is 1.1 MGD by now. And we have unspent contract amount, which is almost 24%, which is in the amount of 463K plus coming back to us. We're asking here board action either in the bottom, authorize final acceptance of the work and approve the final contract payment in the amount of $397,972.57, pending PWDB acceptance and release of the payments from project 31C.
so moved.
This project is complete in place.
Okay, Director Rowell has moved, what did you move?
Authorize authorized final acceptance of the work and approve the final contract payment in the amount of $395,000, $395,972.57.
Perfect.
And NCWDB exceptions.
Any other discussion?
It's on the bottom of
Only
tab
they
4
went
too.
up there. Only they went back up there. Okay, all in favor of Director Raoul's motion, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed or abstaining? It's unanimous. Thank you, Raj.
So this, the next item is item 8B, that's also, which is the second item on the tab 4. And the summary sheet is there. This is about 35 seals, about 17,000 linear feet of water line, and it has 4 water facilities for the conversion. Right here, started in here on the right hand side, that's going to be North 160 plant 1, 2, 3, and northwest. That's going to be North 29 water plant 1. The total anticipated conversion is 1.5 MGD, which is already in place. The completion of this project. This project is complete, and EP Ready was the contractor for this one, and we had 3.7%, which is dollar amount coming back to us in the amount of $864,436. That's unspent amount, and the request here is authorize final acceptance of the work and approve the final contract payment in the amount of $444,188.89 pending EWPP acceptance and release of retainers for the project 35C. It's all completely in place and in service.
Okay, do we have a motion?
Motion.
Director Raoul motions that we authorize final acceptance as described. Any further discussion? I would, just a quick question. I think it's great that y'all come in under budget on both of these, but what would you attribute that to? Was it just a little bit of pad that was in the estimates to begin with? Or was there something that
So,
worked out better?
based on the nature of the project, we have almost 30%, 3% to 5% contingency to cover unforeseen conditions, or sometimes we have a cash allowance for permits, then on inspection for the different agencies, that's all estimated number. And basically, and then also, how you control the change orders. That's how you manage the contract, basically. Just keep a cool eye on it.
So you essentially didn't have any unanticipated costs?
We didn't have a big change order, how about that?
Okay, thank you. We've got a motion on the floor. All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed or abstaining? It passes 5-0. Thank you, members. Thank you, Raj. That brings us to number 9, board discussion of potential future items. I'll start with Ron and work our way this way. Okay. No, meeting, okay. Close out number 9 then. Next regular meeting will be tentatively held on August 3rd, 2026. Do we have any objection to adjourning the meeting?
No objection.
Seeing none, we're adjourned
Excellent.
at 6:50.